Hey everybody, this is Beth Bond with Southeast Green, and I am at the airport, and I've seen several people scoping now from the airport because it's like, for busy people, that is the last place. There's still some sense of like, hey, I can squeeze a scope in. So thank you for everyone who's joining me. The airport's always great for people watching, and while I'm standing here waiting for my flight, I thought I would talk about Thanksgiving. I was looking for articles to tweet about Thanksgiving for a greener and a cleaner Thanksgiving, and realized we don't have anything. We have tons of Christmas and tons of Halloween, and a couple of spring things, but nothing for Thanksgiving. So I just wanted to give some tips. The first tip, though, is the bonus tip. We're going to start backwards and give you the bonus tip, which is none of this is worth ruining your Thanksgiving over. As you know, you have to have a family who's amenable and thinking about this stuff, and if it's going to end up having an argument, then do the best you can, and then next year maybe you'll be able to do a little bit more. So the number one tip tonight is get a clean turkey. And now many of you would say, well, wait a minute, turkeys aren't GMO, and that would be correct, but most store-bought turkeys are now corn-fed, which means they're being fed GMO corn. And of course, the other big issue is there's been a lot of talk about antibiotics and chickens being free of antibiotics, but not a lot of talk about turkeys being free of antibiotics. So if you can, get a clean turkey. We have a great resource in Georgia. It's White Oak Pastures. They're already advertising their turkeys. But one of the things you need to be aware about is turkeys that are grown naturally don't look like the turkeys we're used to seeing, because they pump all kinds of stuff in the breast and water in particular. And so getting a natural range-free turkey will probably make you sort of shudder. The nice thing about getting it from somebody like White Oak Pastures is you can call down there before you order, so you can get some good guidelines, because your 12-pound turkey that feeds so many and has so much breast meat, that is not going to be your free-range turkey. So make sure you get make sure you contact your turkey provider to see what kind of turkey. You may have to get two, just face it. But the taste will be so much better. So that's the first tip. The second tip is instead of like trying to convince everybody to go paleo with side dishes or organic, what we did in my family that's worked really well is we started off just changing ingredients, like using the same favorite side dishes, but instead of using frozen chopped spinach, we get fresh organic spinach. And I can't find organic mushrooms, so we don't do organic mushrooms, but we do the best we can. So once again, this is not about driving everybody crazy. It's about doing the best you can with the constraints you have from family and with your shopping, because that's the other problem. My mother lives in rural Alabama. We actually bring all our food in from Atlanta because you can't get organics like you can in Atlanta. So I always feel like a big refrigerator. And then I feel like the recycling bin on the way home, because Mother doesn't have recycling in her little town, so I bring all our recycling back. So the first tip is try to get a free-range turkey from a provider who you can trust. The second tip is switch out things organic ingredients instead of just trying to do all these new recipes. The third tip to make it a cleaner, and then the last two tips we'll do greener, is a lot of people are concerned about sugar, and with good reason. They absolutely should. So one of the great ways to control sugar is to actually make things homemade. And so what I've found in recipes is you can cut about half the sugar in any given recipe, and nobody knows unless they're a real sugar addict. And that's a great way to get sugar out of your Thanksgiving dinner, and make a real difference calorie-wise too. Because you always want leftover pies and goodies, but knowing that you can cut about half the sugar makes it, it does not, the sugar does not affect, like if it's a cake or that needs to rise or something like that. The sugar is strictly there for sweet. When you start messing with the eggs and the baking soda and baking powder and cream of tartar, then you're going to be worried about leavening. But if you're just talking about straight sugar, it does not affect the cake at all. The other thing that I did with baking is I substitute. Okay, here we go. Let me do this quickly. Is I substitute half of the flour with almond flour, so there's actually more protein in it, and that really also helps, makes the cake a little more denser, but it also gives it a really nice nutty flavor. So make sure that you toast you can do it with anything. Almonds, and we do pound cake in my family, and almond flour. The pound cake and the almond flour gives it a really nice nutty flavor, and so that's the other tip. So the 4 and 5, which we're going to do quickly. I hope you can hear me over the speaker. One is the waste, right? And this is what I talked about Halloween. Everybody gets together, and it's quicker and it's easier, and so everyone has a tendency to do disposable paper plates and napkins, and I don't want to take the ease. It's not fair to make someone stand there and wash dishes unless people like to stand and wash dishes and visit, which is always an option. But think about buying recycled paper plates and napkins, and please don't buy styrofoam. And if you're buying plastic cups, make sure they're recyclable. So welcome to the folks who've just joined. My name is Beth Bond. I'm with Southeast Green, and we're going over the 5 greener and clean Thanksgiving Day tips, because we didn't have anything on the site, and this will end up on Southeast Green after we finish videoing. So I will recap all 5 points plus the bonus one when we get to the end. We're on the 5th one. The 5th one is we're talking about sort of like the waste and the leftovers. If you're going to be doing leftovers, I know a lot of people have a lot of plastic, but it might be nice to bring some glass dishes. I'm sorry, I can't read it. I'm at the airport, and instead of making y'all look at me, I decided we could people watch while we talk. So I'm sorry, I can't read your comment. So for when it's time to sort of pack things up, because you really do not want to reheat your leftovers in plastic, it might be nice as sort of a hostess gift to bring some, used Pyrex that you find in a thrift store or something like that. And then when you heat it up, then it will be much safer. And if it's a glass oven dish, then you can heat it up in the oven. So which you cannot do with plastic. So anyway, those are my 5 tips. So the first tip is a clean green turkey, raised locally from a trusted rancher by choice. The second thing is adding organics in where it makes sense, instead of stressing everybody out about trying new recipes and, oh my gosh, organic means we have to change Thanksgiving. My third tip is cut the sugar in half, substitute nut meal, in particular almond flour where you can. The fourth tip is use recyclable and recycled content in your paper plates and napkins and cups. And then the 5th tip, of course, is bring your own glass dishes as a hostess gift to your mom or your aunt or whoever's hosting for leftovers, so things don't get heated up in plastic. Hey guys, thanks for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this. If you're a replay viewer, I'm supposed to say this beginning, I apologize. Thanks for all the hearts. And